Welcome to Alan Combs Versus, where we discuss some of the more controversial things said in the recent news cycle in both traditional and digital media, the epitome of what we like to call around here fair and balanced. Joining me today from Skype, or via Skype from Las Vegas, national radio talk show host and author of the upcoming book, Angry White Male, Wayne Allen Root. Wayne, you said, speaking of angry white males, in terms of the Trump phenomenon, we need someone who's coarse, foul-mouthed, and vicious. And that's what God wants?
You know, slightly out of context there, Alan, but basically what I said was others accuse Donald Trump of being coarse, foul-mouthed. I don't necessarily agree that he is, but I do agree he's tougher than Mitt Romney or John McCain or, say, Gerald Ford or Bob Dole. He's definitely a different kind of politician, and he's definitely very New York. Everyone I know in New York curses a lot, uses the F word once in a while, and Donald's been known to do that.
But wait a minute, those are the words you use, foul-mouthed, vicious, coarse. That's what we want in a leader?
Those are the words I used that others used, and I agreed that Donald is definitely a different kind of candidate, and he's just what we need. There's nothing wrong with that. The Democrats are like that all the time. Maybe you should use the second half of what I say. Democrats are vicious to us all the time. They lie, they distort, and they do terrible things.
That's not the way to make a case for Donald Trump. He's known to lie. Lied about the Iran video. He lied about a letter from the NFL. Go down the list of lies. If you want to play the lie game, he's a veteran liar. He's a world-class liar. So let's not play that game.
None of the lies that you're talking about, which I would not condone any of them as being called lies, but let's assume that they were. They don't even compare to what Obama and Hillary have done, the IRS scandal, Benghazi. There's no comparison. The Iran ransom, $400 million in Swiss francs.
I don't want to relitigate all that. We've kind of done that already. But let me ask you this. You say, Wayne, that God wants Donald Trump. God gave us Donald Trump.
Again, out of context. I never say things like that because Glenn Beck said God loved Ted Cruz, and I made fun of that and said God isn't into naming a politician.
You didn't say God gave us Donald Trump?
I said that it's possible, if you look at the Bible, not everyone, I'm speaking to Christians now when I was doing this interview on a Christian radio station, and I said, you know, you can't give me the excuse that you're not for Donald Trump because you're a wonderful, perfect Christian. You'd like someone like that to run for president because that's what you want to run for minister of your church, not president. God, when he needs to, is willing to do some really rough things. Look at the Bible. Lots of people die. Lots of people are punished. There's lots of vengeance in the Bible. So don't try and tell me that you need a perfect Christian soul who's nice to everyone to be president of the United States. That's all I said.
Nice wouldn't
don't take that out of context.
By the way, you got, just this week, 50 former national security people, Republicans, put a letter in the New York Times, and I'm talking about people like Tom Ridge, head of Homeland Security, a couple of other people who were head of Homeland Security, Michael Chertoff, for example, and they put a letter in the New York Times warning us about Trump, saying he's not qualified to be president. These are not a bunch of left-wing loons. These are conservative national security personnel who say this guy should not be in the Oval Office.
Yeah, and I understand, and I've said for a year now, I'm the first major commentator in the country who's been in the Trump bandwagon from day one, saying he'd win the nomination, he could win the presidency when he was at 1 or 2% in the polls. And I said if he gets popular and he catches fire, you're going to see hate coming from every liberal, every establishment Republican, and even some conservatives like National Review.
That wasn't hate. Are you telling me that someone like Tom Ridge, Michael Chertoff are haters?
I'm telling you that they're scared of someone grabbing their power and not giving them jobs and patronage. I'm telling you these guys are used to being in charge, and they're scared to death that when Donald gets to town, they're all fired.
These former heads of Homeland Security don't know what they're talking about, and they're haters.
I think their only goal in life is taking care of themselves and padding their family's future.
Really?
These guys are not good for the American people.
They were protecting the country for years as heads of Homeland Security.
Have they protected the country, Alan? Have they?
Yes.
Because I don't think they protected the country at all.
By the way, you were a former libertarian vice presidential candidate, ran with Bob Barr in 2008. How do you go from libertarianism to Trumpism?
I'm a capitalist ahead of anything else in the world. I need someone who understands business, and Trump announced a plan yesterday, an economic plan, that I'm in love with, okay?
It wasn't a libertarian plan. That was an old-school Republican plan about trickle-down economics that have failed since the days of Reagan. Nothing libertarian about that.
I love when liberals like you say things like that. I have 100 stats that prove it was the greatest economic turnaround, not in American history, not in modern history, in the history of the world. Reagan turned around. Jimmy Carter, the pathetic loser who destroyed the American economy and turned it to misery and malaise. And in 2 years, Reagan created 20 million jobs.
Reagan left us with the biggest deficit in debt up until that time, and in fact had to raise taxes like payroll taxes to make up for the tax cuts that were not paying our bills.
That's hilarious. Reagan created the greatest income tax cut in history, and then he agreed to a few tiny cuts that were
No, he
never
had to make
income
up for it with a
tax.
payroll tax increase that
And
affected
why
every
did he
American.
agree to a payroll? Wait. Why did he agree to a payroll tax increase?
He
Because
agreed to it
Democrats
because he had
convinced
to
him they
make
would
up
cut
for what we
spending.
were losing.
He was compromising with Democrats who said they'd cut spending. They lied, and they never did. And none of you have any right to ever bring up debt, because any debt Reagan
You're
created
taking
is
away my
tiny
rights to
compared to
bring
what
it up.
Obama
Okay,
created.
my First Amendment rights have been compromised. Well, listen, Wayne, thank you very much. Be sure to follow Wayne on Twitter at Wayne Root. I'm Alan Combs. Thanks for watching.